What is up, guys? Delboy here. So some news out of the World Boxing Super Series, the Cruiserweight tournament. Krzystof Glowacki versus Mairis Briedis has been set for the 15th of June. This fight takes place in Riga, Latvia. I really like this fight. I think it's a fascinating fight and I'm pleased a date is finalised. I like both fighters. I believe both fighters are top 5, top 6 in the Cruiserweight division, and I'm really looking forward to this matchup. I believe it's a fascinating style matchup. To me, this is a bit of a boxer versus pressure fighter type bout. Mairis Briedis is more of the boxer type, whereas Krzystof Glowacki is the pressure fighter. And, you know, the two styles should gel quite well. Both guys can punch. Both guys have proven themselves at decent levels in the Cruiserweight division. And ultimately, I just believe it's a good matchup. Going into this fight, I am going to be interested to see the bookies' odds. I actually make Krzystof Glowacki the favourite. I think a lot of people will naturally side with the boxer in Mairis Briedis. But to me, Briedis' last couple of performances since that Usyk defeat haven't been great. In his comeback fight against the Frenchman Brandon Deslauriers, I didn't think Briedis looked that good. I felt he looked pretty workmanlike, he looked flat, he looked uninterested, and ultimately it just wasn't really an impressive fight. And his first fight in this series of a World Boxing Super Series, he fought a guy by the name of Noel Givor, and I felt Briedis got a very fortunate decision in that fight. I felt Givor outboxed Briedis, to be quite honest, and before this tournament I had seen some of Givor's fights before, and he never looked anything special. He was a guy who had a good jab, a good right hand, decent technical skills, good work rate, just a good solid all-rounder but nothing special, and I really felt Briedis would beat him with a bit in hand, but no, Givor went in there with a very good game plan, and he outboxed Briedis from range, to be quite honest, and he was very unfortunate not to get that decision. I actually felt that fight was a bit of a robbery, so to me, recent form doesn't look good for Briedis. Now, I've heard in that Givor fight, Briedis was carrying some type of injury. Not sure how true that is, but that's what I've heard. But regardless, it was a poor performance against Noel Givor, and he is very fortunate to be in the semi-finals of the World Boxing Super Series. As for Krzystof Glowacki, I was actually impressed with his last performance. In his last fight, he fought a guy by the name of Maxim Vlasov. Maxim Vlasov is a Russian cruiserweight who has an awkward style, quick hands, quick feet, herky-jerky. He's a good boxer, and I felt Glowacki had his hands full that night, but he went into that fight and actually performed really well and got a clear victory over a good fighter, a good boxer in Vlasov. And I was impressed with Glowacki that night. So coming into this fight, he's coming off a good win, he's coming off a good performance, and you know, if we're looking at it from a what have you done for me lately type of perspective, you may have to favour Glowacki going into this fight. And I am leaning towards Glowacki right now, to be honest. I might change my mind nearer the fight, and I will do a prediction nearer the fight, but my thought process right now is to make Glowacki the favourites. Having said that, I still feel it will be very competitive. I still feel Briedis has a good chance. I mean, Glowacki's very aggressive. He comes forward with his head down. He is open for counter shots, especially that right uppercut of Briedis. Briedis has a lovely right uppercut. Look at the knockout against Manuel Char. How he timed that shot was remarkable. I mean, even if you've sparred and you watch that knockout, try to replicate something like that in the gym. Try and replicate that shot. It's tremendously hard to land that type of uppercut on the back foot and to generate enough power to knock a man out. That was a special shot, and that knockout really demonstrated the talent Briedis has. He's a very talented fighter. He's got punching power, he's got good timing, he's a good counterpuncher, good boxing skills in general, but at times Briedis seems the type to kind of, I wouldn't say shy away in battle because he had a tough fight with Usyk, but to me he's a confidence fighter. If he's not confident, if he's not feeling it, then he's going to fight within himself. and that's a worry to me, because Glowacki, regardless of who he's got in front of him, he's going to come forward and he's going to try and land those big power shots. He will maintain a good work rate throughout and he will make you fight. And if Briedis doesn't fancy it, then he's in for a long night, because you can't mess around with somebody like Krzystof Glowacki. He's a really, really good fighter and he carries power himself. So I feel it's a fascinating fight. It's kind of hard to know what to make of Briedis at the minute. What's his mindset like? How's his confidence? Did he actually have an injury in his last fight? Is he still carrying it? You know, it's an interesting fight and there's several things to consider, but I really, really like this matchup. And if both guys are at their best, we could get a mini classic here, because I think stylistically this fight could be really, really fun. And I'm thoroughly looking forward to it, to be quite honest. Share your thoughts below. Peace.